Census 2022 says about 5.2 million young people in South Africa are not in school. Now, Gauteng has the highest number of young people who are not in school with 1.3 million, and followed by KZN with 1 million. And this, of course, is also our question tonight as we are asking you. These are between 5 and 24. And these, of course, as we are looking at this particular count, there are more children in school now than in the previous count. So let's unpack this now and look at whether or not is this a positive step, is it not, and speak to Stellenbosch University Education Economist, Prof Martin Gustafsson. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time this evening. Some have said that these numbers are worrying, but the fact that there are more children in school now is encouraging and a step in the right direction. You agree?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I know that the 5.2 million made headlines, at least in Sowetan. But it's a little bit misleading. I mean, if we're talking about 4 to 24-year-olds, I think it is, then you wouldn't expect everyone to be in an education institution. So, I mean, the bottom line is that, for 20 years, participation has been improving, and attainment has also been improving. So there are more young people in education, and there are also more young people obtaining qualifications, whether you look at the matric or post-school qualifications. So there's been a general upward trend. When it comes to completion of schooling, grade 12, we do relatively well in an international comparison in terms of just numbers. Okay, so that's not really looking at the quality, but numbers are also important. I mean, you want your young population to have certification, to have that certificate. It helps them navigate the difficult world beyond school. Once you start looking at post-school education, we actually compare quite unfavorably to other middle-income countries. So the priority needs to be to have even more university, TVET college, etc. students in the country.
And I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but just the fact that we talk about especially the matriculants, and one thinks about just the concern even from sometimes when you look at grade 1 compared to grade 12 as well, and we hear in that technical report year in year out that there are still some of those who start grade 1 but unfortunately never get to grade 12. And I wonder then, in the context of these numbers, how much of a concern is it as well?
Well, of course, it's concerning to individuals and to households if they expect and want children to complete matric and then they don't. That is very concerning, and it's also very skewed against the poor. So the middle class almost universally finishes matric, but in the country as a whole, currently we're sitting at about 62% of youths getting either the matric in school or something equivalent in a TVET college. And this has been going up. It was 45%, I think, in 2004. So it's been increasing. And we just have to make sure we continue with that increase. We're not going to get to 100% overnight, and no country does that. The question is, though, what opportunities exist for, let's say, the 40% currently of young people who are not getting the matric and who are not going to a college. The opportunities for them need to be better. And I think one of the ways we can make it a bit better is through the implementation of this general education certificate in grade 9, which some people don't really like because they say it's copping out, it's taking the focus away from that grade 12 certificate. But considering that we're not going to get everyone in the short term, certainly, to get to grade 12 completed successfully, we need some backup. And that backup could help young people to enter colleges. You can enter a TVET college without a matric. And in fact, more young people should be entering colleges without a matric.
And, one day I hope we have a conversation even just about how do we begin to even debunk some of, the stigmas attached to TVET colleges, as we sometimes even hear. But let's stay with this and talk about the fact that, someone is watching tonight and they're saying, okay, so we talk about getting more young people into classrooms, for example, not only matric, and if we're looking at increasing this particular attendance, and they are wondering, do we have enough capacity to be able to house them in our schools?
There is a lot of resourcing pressure in the schooling system. Anyone working in the system will tell you that. And part of that pressure results from the fact that we are more successful in getting young people to survive to grade 12. That does create pressure. And the way the funding systems work in the schooling sector create a risk that where secondary schools grow, they will suck money and resources out of the primary level. So we have seen classes increase in size. This is, of course, related in part to the very serious budget squeezes we are experiencing, and it relates to population increase. One has to look very carefully at basically the dips and the peaks in the population, and we are currently going through a peak in the population of young South Africans, and that is putting pressure. That is going to ease somewhat in the coming 10 years, and we need to kind of plan for the space that creates.
Prof, as a final question then, even some of our viewers, this is our question tonight, and others have raised concern, even just after these numbers were presented to the President. There are some who are doubting the veracity of these particular numbers and say that they're raising concerns, how the data has been collected. And I wonder, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I work a lot with data, and I get frustrated with data a lot. None of these data sources are perfect. The Stats SA was not able to interview, obtain data from every South African. Where there were gaps, they have to make estimates. The schooling system, and I do work for the Department of Basic Education, plays an important role in verifying what the actual numbers are. The schooling sector has huge volumes of data which are refreshed every year. Each individual child basically has information in those systems. The Department of Basic Education works with Home Affairs, so there is quite a lot of kind of verification and triangulation happening. We need to try and get our data to be better. I think it is becoming better gradually, and it's certainly not bad by middle-income country standards.